It'll get handled when it gets handled.
Patrick Mahomes is basically God playing quarterback.
Chiefs Kingdom
live.
Salon, what's hot? Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni.
And when it's grim, be the Grim Reaper and go get it.
It's Mahomes' house, and it is good. Woo! Arrowhead man.
The Lombardi Trophy has a red and gold reflection.
You gotta fight for your right to party.
Let's go.
Dude, that's wild. So good. When it's so big, when I heard it'll get handled when it gets handled.
Right. Yeah. Howdy, Chiefs Kingdom. It's Wednesday. It's 8:00. It's Chiefs Kingdom Live. Thank you so much for joining us. If you would, real quick, before you forget, make sure to click or tap that like, click or tap that subscribe. Tell some friends, tell some family members, tell some Chiefs fans, tell your mailman, tell anybody and everybody. Help spread the word. We'd sure appreciate it. Got a good show lined up for everybody tonight. All kinds of stuff to talk about on the show tonight. We're going to get into some training camp updates and some injury news, which is that's looking up for the Chiefs since as compared to the beginning of camp. We've got a Chucky sighting at Chiefs training camp. The former Raiders foe, right, makes an appearance. That's kind of interesting. We're going to talk about that. We'll talk about this week's poll, talking about who the Chiefs are maybe favoring and who they should keep at certain positions. Because, look, when you have a killer draft class like they did a few years ago, it's really hard to, pay everybody, right? So we'll get into that. We'll take your questions. Oh, yeah, wait a minute. There's a game this weekend. We'll talk about the game this weekend, too.
Oh, football started. Hey,
football starting, so. Anything else you want to talk about? Maybe throw a question or bring it up there in the chat. Looks like we got a crew here getting in early. Brenda and Janet and Maria and Big Doug.
What's up?
Hey,
welcome. Good to see y'all. Thank you so much for joining us. Before we get into the show, how are we doing this evening, Bo?
I'm doing good. Just staying hydrated on my Niners tears here, courtesy of Nick. Appreciate the gift there, buddy. And a little rub there to John V, who still hasn't paid up on his bet, by the way, if he's watching. No, I'm doing good, man. Football's here. It's among us. I can't be doing any better right now. How you doing, guys? Nick?
I'm good. Yeah, I trying a new setup here. Move my microphone around so I don't end up breaking a bunch of expensive audio equipment live on the internet when my voice cuts out. But good. We're doing a little remodeling here at the homestead. Just getting ready for the game here this weekend, and enjoying summer. What about you, Scotty?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Enjoying this little cool spell we're having here in KC. Sitting out on the deck last night, and I was like, man, I need to go put a long sleeve T-shirt or something with my jacket on, which you usually don't say in early August here in KC. So enjoying that. Life is good. Football is here. Let's just get into training camp.
Let's do this.
Training camp's winding down. We're, here kind of towards the end of it. And injury updates. Let's just kind of get that out of the way here first. Players have returned. Justin Watson is back. Some other guys. Jalen Watson, I saw, came back. Nick Bolton still out. Justin Reed's still out. Those are obviously still concerning, but the injuries to guys has kind of slowed down. So go around the horn here and see how we feel about the injury situation, maybe as opposed to a week or so ago. Nick, how are you feeling about Chiefs injuries?
Look, we've still got plenty of time for those guys to get well before the season starts. You're not hearing about anybody that's going onto IR or anything, so I feel good. I feel like we just need to, get through training camp, get through these preseason games, get the ones some game time, but also don't leave them in there unnecessarily, right? Andy Reid, I think he said that they're going to be potentially playing the starters the first quarter. He kind of always says that. Never really happens, but we'll see how it goes. There it is, the Niners steers.
That does.
But yeah, I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling like, the team is in a good spot. I mean, we'll talk about the signing the kicker, but we secured the kicker. I mean, I'm feeling like we're ready to get the season going, man.
Yeah, Bo, how are you feeling about Chiefs' injury situation as we're getting towards the end of camp here? No audio, Bo.
He's muted.
Yep, sorry. I echo Nick's sentiments exactly, man. Not sounding too many alarm bells. I did hear something about Justin Reed maybe missing the rest of camp and maybe like sitting out half of preseason. But other than that, like you said, it seems to have slowed down. Everything seems to be on the up and up. We talked about stingers and stuff. I think we were right about, guys just taking some big hits and having to, sit out for a little bit. I heard Chris Jones didn't practice today, but more or less just out of precaution. It's our big money guy. They're not really trying to strain him too hard. Yeah, exactly. He could sit out if he wanted to anyway. Exactly. But no, I feel good. I think I agree with Nick. Just got to make it through the rest of the training camp, get through preseason, and I am so excited for where our team looks. I mean, the hype around I know it's training camp, and you got to take it with a grain of salt, but man, they look good and they look like they're having fun. Nick shared a video with us that we'll be sharing later here in a minute that has my heart going a little bit, but yeah, it looks good, man. It looks like it's on the up and up. How are you feeling about all this?
I'm feeling a lot better. Guys were kind of dropping like flies there. And I forgot to mention Kadarius Toney is out too. His back is flared up. I don't know what to think about Kadarius Toney at this point. Is he going to make the team? Is he not going to make the team? Is he a fringe guy? I don't know. But the Nick Bolton thing, I'll feel a lot better when he gets back. And we'll talk a little bit more about Nick Bolton and his importance to the team later when we do the this week's CKL poll, which if you haven't voted in, you can go vote on it now. It's over there at our X account at Chiefs Kingdom Live. You can find us on all the other social medias there too. I think Bo even listed him there in his slick outro video. Let us know what you thought about the outro video from last week. And tell Bo he did a good job because I thought that thing was great. But yeah, I'm excited to have Justin Watson back. He looks healthy. It looks like the foot thing is past him. He does not look limited in practice at all. Justin Watson, I still see people online saying that he's not going to make the team or he shouldn't make the team. Look, man, J. Watt's making the team, especially when you're looking at
over KT.
At a possible. Oh, definitely, I would take J. Watt over KT in a heartbeat without even thinking about it. But especially with the possible Rashee Rice suspension looming. I mean, J. Watt was the man last year. We talked about this a couple times in previous shows here the last few weeks. He was the go-to guy last year. And now I know they've brought in Hollywood Brown, who they didn't have last year. The rookie Xavier Worthy, all accounts are he's looking really good in practice and picking up the offense. But he's still a rookie in an Andy Reid system, so we'll have to just kind of see
a learning curve
he
for
comes
sure.
along. So, look, there's a Watt. There's a role for J. Watt on this wide receiving and this team in the wide receiving room. So good to see him back. We've talked about the Chiefs airing it out. J. Watt, I don't know if he's the biggest speedster out there anymore, but Patrick Mahomes talked about it when he first came to the team. Like, who's this Justin Watson? This dude's fast, right? So J. Watt's got some speed, and he's a veteran guy, and he's familiar with the system. So I'm really excited and happy to see that he's back. And like Nick said, knock on some wood here. I wouldn't frame on this chair, but they've avoided like the season-ending injury you see some of these teams guys get, ACLs or Achilles injuries, things like that. So, it's looking a lot better and it's trending upward, especially compared to the way training camp started.
There you go, Mango. Romeggio. I like it.
Yeah, looks like we've got Mango's checking in. Good to see you. Welcome. Yeah, I would love to see Romeggio make this team. We talked about this a week or two ago. I'd take him and Ross over Kadarius Toney and Sky Moore on this team. I think we were all in agreement there when we talked about that. So I would love for that guy to get his chance this year and come in and see what he can do. Sam's checking back in here. Good to see Jim Sam up in the house. So, injuries looking a lot better for the Chiefs. Be feeling a lot better, like I said, when Nick Bolton and Justin Reed get back. So, some other training camp news and tidbits here. A lot of reports are really good for the Chiefs. The left tackle, Kingsley Samataya. I know I just butchered that dude's name.
Sumataia.
Samataya. I know how to say it. I just can't say it. Okay. So
Kingsley, you demand.
Kingsley, yeah. KS, I don't know what we're going to have to come up with a nickname for that guy, especially if he's going to keep playing like this. He's getting reps and locking down Karlaftis and some of the bigger name, the stars on the defensive line there. He's looking good. That bodes well for Patrick Mahomes. What do you guys think about the news that guy is looking really good? Do you think he has a chance to maybe start out there? Wanya Morris went down today and practice with an apparent knee injury, but then kind of continued the practice out. How excited are you about the rookie left tackle, Nick?
Yeah, look, you hear that he's coming into camp and going up against, the ones and having success. Look, people that have, in the chat that have or online that have listened to this show for a long time know that we spoke with Joe Valerio, and he had quite a funny anecdote about going to training camp and going up against Derek Thomas as a rookie and what that was like, and just getting put directly on his ass, right? And so you see a guy that's coming into training camp and having some good reps. It's a good sign. It's a good sign, man.
Yeah, Bo, you excited to hear about the left tackle looking good?
Dude, yeah, everything I've seen on social media coming out of camp for him is nothing but positive. Whether it's getting reps with the first teams, or he's coming in at peak physical shape, which is always good. You're not trying to get into shape during camp. He was already in shape. But then I saw a great play of him running downfield and throwing a block like 40 yards downfield.
Yeah, he's
it was like the third day. Yeah, he's fast too, and like that's for a lineman, man. Like that's above and beyond what you're asking for. So, I mean, everything looks great as far as that goes. He's getting a lot of recognition, I think deservedly so. It looks good. It's just whether or not that, that performance translates from camp into games. But I think we'll definitely see him for a majority of the preseason snaps. That's for sure.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing some of those guys get out there and play the preseason. Look, preseason football is preseason football, and we'll talk about the preseason game more here later. But those guys play hard. And look, protecting Patrick Mahomes' blindside. The Chiefs, they brought in Orlando Brown, right? They traded with the Ravens and brought him in. And I don't want to say the guy sucked, but they kind of whiffed on that trade a little bit, right? I don't think they got what they expected out of him. So they let him go and kind of replace that position here in the draft. And that's a position I'm going to be looking at, especially with the preseason games coming up here. So Brenda's a fan of Bo's DT shirt.
Nice. This is a lucky shirt. I wore this to Scott's Super Bowl party. I think it won the game for us. Super Bowl 58, number 58. Let's go.
Let's go. Yeah, no. Mango's in here. Yeah, I don't. KT can. I'm guessing you mean KT there, but maybe KR is somebody else. He's been a punt returner and can do some stuff too. They've got Luis Rees-Zamet for the new kickoff, which I don't know if we'll get to or not. That thing was kind of a dud, to be honest with you. But look, protecting Patrick Mahomes is job number one. We've talked about players. Joe Burrow, his first few years here in the league, has suffered injury, and they've struggled to protect him. Andrew Luck's career was shortened by the Colts' inability, in large part to their inability to protect Andrew Luck and keep him injury-free, minimize injuries or keep him healthy and injury-free. Big part of the reason, if not the reason, he retired early. So, that's definitely good news. Bo's checking out on us here. We're going to wait for him to come back. There's been a development.
That was strange. Sorry.
Another development
typing
in training camp. Bo's favorite play coming soon to a regular season game near you. I don't know if this happens or not, but Patrick Mahomes, you got the video queued up there. You ready, Bo? You got
No,
it?
let me find it real quick. Sorry, I was not prepared for that.
I thought you had it. I thought you said you had it ready here at the beginning of the show, so that's why I went to it. But
Well, no, I was pulling it up. I just started typing, and like my computer walked out. My mic stopped and my camera stopped, so I was just worried about getting back in here. And,
right, no, I'm just
give me a
kidding.
minute. I'll pull this up here.
We got Sam in
real
here
quick and I'll pull
saying Bo looks like Butker. I don't know about that, Sam. That's a reach. I can see the Nick Trent Green resemblance, but I don't know about Bo. I mean, Nick, you think Bo's looking like Butker at all over there? He definitely don't have the hair. I'm just gonna say that while Bo's off screen here. I don't know if he can hear us or not right now, but
No, he looks. What do the kids say? He looks like
man.
he looks like
in the
Timu.
background, man. Come on.
He looks like Timu Harrison Butker, maybe.
yeah, maybe that's even a stretch there. I don't know, but
I look like one of Harrison Butker's thumbs.
maybe.
He's like if you described what Harrison Butker looked like to an alien that had never seen humans before. That's maybe what they would draw.
Maybe, could be, but Patrick Mahomes they're kind of having fun here in camp. There was a video of him like blindfolded and then spinning around, right, and throwing passes, dizzy. We're kind of seeing the circus act stuff here at the end of camp, which those guys like to do. We see them throwing the balls at the crossbar and whatnot. But Brenda's talking about the Chiefs' weapons. Yeah, they got weapons. No doubt about that. So we got Bo back here.
I'm here. I got the video here. Just here we go. Nick's favorite play. Go ahead, cue it. Sorry to take so long, but go ahead and
you're fine.
Talk us in here what we're about to watch.
We're looking at a video of Patrick Mahomes getting ready to execute. I don't know if the video's playing on your screen or not. Oh, there I see you got getting ready to execute Bo's favorite play here. A little behind the back toss to Pacheco for the touchdown. Look, we've talked about this play before. I don't know if they're planning on doing it. I'm not so sure that like they would do it here at the end of camp. Are they just throwing that on there to mess with people? Are they really going to do it? Be interested to see what the chat thinks. Do we actually see the behind the back pass?
Watch the defense reaction, dude. I feel like it's genuine because you watch these guys come in here and dude, oh my God, he just threw it behind the back on us.
It's a great wrinkle on their. Well, he was doing it underhanded before, right? I mean, this is the play that they ran when they won the Super Bowl, but Bosa blew it up, and so then he rolled out and he found Mecole Hardman on the corn dog route. This is exactly that's what that play was supposed to be to win the Super Bowl, and
I don't think they were going to throw a behind the back pass to win the Super Bowl.
Well, I don't think it was behind the back.
This is that line though, because you got Kelsey.
Right? It's that fake shovel pass. They've done it with Kelsey a bunch.
Yeah, because you got Kelsey in motion, right? And so, like, what I don't see is who's 5, Brown. You don't see him. Does he come back? He doesn't do the hot dog motion, right? That like.
I mean, it's a similar play where they line up and Patrick Mahomes kind of like rolls out to the right, and the play is designed to go out there, but.
They run a little cross route right there. Whew, all right.
So all I know is I see behind the back pass from Mahomes. I send it directly to Bo because it's his most favorite thing that he hopes happens in a real game.
Yeah,
I got to keep telling myself I love to see it. I love to see it. I love to see this play. I love to see this play.
You fake it till you make it, right?
Play.
Yeah.
Whoever. Dude, I can't tell what number it is. There's a defensive guy that goes in there. He almost breaks it up and intercepts it, though. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'll bring it back up here.
Yeah, I mean, I know, but
it's this close from being picked off.
You know how many plays are this close from being picked off or a fumble? Like, I don't know if we see it, but that was kind of the highlight of camp today. It created a buzz on the internet and social media, and rightfully so. I don't know. I'm still 50-50 on whether or not we see the behind the back pass.
Now that I stop it right here, 27's nowhere near it. Like, that's a big gap that just made it in.
What if we
I'm
did it?
wrong.
What if
I'm
we
wrong.
did it?
It
up
looks
like
it looks
30
like a
points
great
against
play.
the
It
Raiders?
looks like a great play. I don't know. It's just something about it. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, so Chiefs are getting healthy and doing behind the back passes and camp. Today was the last practice of the week as they're going to travel to Jacksonville for the first preseason game of the year, Saturday, which we're going to talk about here in a little bit. Probably the biggest news outside of injuries and like actual stuff that's happening in camp. Harrison Butker gets the bag, as the kids like to say, gets the contract extension, a bunch of guaranteed money for that guy. Harrison Butker put out there was a video someone put out, and it was on X, and I reposted it, so you can go check it out there. It's his longest kick of the year every year since he's been here, and it said like 2017 that was the first year, and I was like, he's been on the team that long? Damn, man. Like, it's just one of those like starting to feel old moments. I remember going to a game against the then Washington Redskins on Monday Night Football. I want to say that was one of Butker's first games, or maybe his first game. And he kicked a long field goal that was crucial in that game, which obviously turned out to be a sign of things to come. With Harrison Butker, not only has this dude gotten the bag, but, man, you look at what he's done and the way he has performed and some of the kicks he's made from this team. Let's just go around here. Bo, how excited, happy are you that Butker gets paid? I don't know if some people would agree with making your kicker the highest paid kicker in the league when you start talking about cap room or whatnot, but if there's a guy that's worth that money, it's him.
No, yeah. I mean, he's earned it. Definitely earned it, right? Has the record for the longest Super Bowl field goal. He's come through on so many clutch games and has won. I mean, he's pretty much won games for us single-handedly, like when we've scored only field goals, you know. I think he's, with all the flack he's gotten this year, it's such a well-deserved payday for him. But I'm with you. It's a heavy price tag to pay, but you know, at the end of the day, you got to look at like, all right, who's your point scorers? Who do you put your trust in? And we've put a lot of trust in Harrison Butker, and yeah, I think he gets it. I think he deserves it, man. That guy has come through so clutch. We kind of gave him shit when he was hurt one year. I think it was 2020 or maybe the year after that, right? He kind of had like a slight little hook or draw on his kick, it seemed like, every time, but ever since then. Yeah, I mean, he wasn't rock solid that year, but I mean, every year other than that, he pretty much has been. I think his overall field goal make percentage for his career is like in 94, 95%, something like right under Justin Tucker, who played, 7-8 more years than he did. So that time will tell if that goes up or down. But no, I'm happy to see it, man. I think he deserves it. Dude earns it. He's so clutch, especially in really big pressure moments. So yeah, I'm all for it.
Nick, Harrison Butker, getting paid, and I mean, what do you think about his legacy with the Chiefs? What stands out?
Well, I mean, if you look at the top NFL scores every season, they're all kickers, right?
Yeah.
So are you willing to pay money for the guy that's going to score the most points on your team? Ask the Bills how they feel about, if they would like to have Harrison Butker. Seriously,
burn.
Chargers division has struggled at kicker for a long time. Teams, they have a hard time. I mean, kickers that are clutch are not the easiest people to come across.
Yeah, so I think, I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer. The guy, he made 94% of his field goals and 100% of his extra points last year. He's made.
Here is Harrison Butker, who's only missed 2 field goals on 26 tries.
So, he's made a kick that sent us to the Super Bowl. He's made a kick that won us the Super Bowl. He made a kick that sent us to overtime in the Super Bowl last year. The guy comes out, he does his job. He's automatic. He was hurt a couple of years ago and had a tough season, but he battled through it. You guys were there. You saw him kick a 50-plus yard field goal with a bum ankle in a game, right? I mean, he'd hurt himself on the field in Arizona.
No run up.
Yeah, a little foreshadowing there. And and he was making long field goals. He didn't even hit one of the field goals in the Super Bowl. I think it was now the longest kick ever in a Super Bowl. He didn't even hit it really all that great. He just line drived it through, right? Because it was low. But I mean, I think he's worth every penny. Like any Chiefs fan of age knows what it's like to be in the playoffs and have your kicker, come up short and have it end your season. And so, that's one of the most critical points on the team. He's not on the field for as many plays. So I get, he's, the cost per play or whatever. But when you're sitting there and you have to make a kick to advance or to win the Super Bowl, like that's the guy you want. And he's proven it. And there's really, I mean, Tucker's really good, but has Tucker proven in the high pressure situations like what Butker has even? I don't think so. So yeah, I think he's worth every penny.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many opportunities Justin Tucker's had. He's right up with Butker, the top two guys. They go back and forth, you could say, at any given time. To me, like when you look at Harrison Butker, the guy is like the Adam Vinatieri of his generation or this era of football, right? I mean, Adam Vinatieri, when he was with the Patriots, was the guy that would come in and just make the huge kicks in all those championship games and Super Bowls. And he even went to the Colts, right, and was money for them, made huge kicks. You look at Harrison Butker, I saw in there, he's made more kicks in the Super Bowl than any other kicker in NFL history, as the longest field goal in the Super Bowl in Super Bowl history. Last year in Super Bowl 58, kicked us into the Super Bowl last year, basically won the Super Bowl 2 years ago that Bo was at there in Arizona. Yep. That was the year we talked about where he had gotten hurt. The Chiefs, the team didn't really let on that he was injured all year, so that kind of led into people, including myself, being critical of him. They got him out there kicking and he's missing, and you're kind of like, well, if he's not healthy, why is he out there, right? But it's kind of one of those things where I think they brought a couple of guys in and they were okay, but this is a team that's playing for championships, obviously. So,
I mean, they were like floating around the idea of like having Justin Reed come in at that point, right? And you're like, well, come on, guys, let's.
I'm trying to think, what was that guy's name? They brought in. They brought in a guy and he kicked for a week or two there, but they rushed him back a little bit and ended up not hurting him because he kicked the game-winning field goal in the Super Bowl that year. So. Good for Butker, man. The guy has been clutch. He's a Chiefs Hall of Famer. The rate he's going right now, I don't know how many kickers make the Hall of Fame, but the dude is racking up. I mean, the Chiefs have a kicker in the Hall of Fame, Jon Gruden. Another 3 or 4 years of this type of production and keeping that percentage up, and especially if he can get a couple more Super Bowl clinching or game-winning field goals under his belt, he might be a guy that's looking at getting a gold jacket someday. I don't think that's
funny. Bring that up. Look who showed up today. Yay! Jon Gruden, baby.
Yep.
You guys are not on Chiefs bids looking for cheap jerseys that nobody else is bidding on. I got this for like $30 or $40. Shit. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, Nick's got to brag about his jersey here. So.
I did. I'm excited. I just know Jamal Charles, like you got
out
in the back.
All
there.
The players to like bring up during the show, right? We had to bring up it. Nick's like, oh, hey, I saw the light bulb switch on him.
Oh. Yeah, I might have known that Nick had a Jon Gruden jersey there at the house when I brought that up. So
it was mentioned in the comments too, though.
Right, Jon Gruden, though, like I said, he's a Hall of Fame, NFL Hall of Famer, first soccer-style kicker in the NFL. Before that, you had all these guys that did the straight run-up and like toe punched it, basically.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I just, Butker's getting paid and winning Super Bowls and making game-winning kicks. I was really hoping our man JT would be watching in the chat when we talked about this, because the thing that's even sweeter about it is they poached him, right? They sniped him off of the Panthers practice squad. This dude's just chilling on their practice squad, and we're like, hey, we're going to give you a shot and bring him in, and next thing you know, he's the number one kicker in the league. He's getting paid like it, so congrats to Butker. He's made all franchise-altering kicks for this team and not just once or twice, multiple times, multiple years.
Completely.
So
if you had to
one of
rank
those-
him among the great Chiefs kickers, right? You got Jon Gruden, you got Nick Lowry, right? Was a NFL all-time leading scorer there for a while.
right,
Butker, right? Where would you rank Butker all time for the Chiefs?
I'm probably going to rank him number one just because of, like I said, the big kicks he's made in Super Bowls and championships.
Super Bowls.
To get to the Super Bowl. Like Nick Lowry, I made a lot of kicks for the Chiefs. You go back to Jon Gruden. I want to say the Chiefs lost the longest game in NFL history, right? Because he missed some field goals.
I'm going to throw that jersey in the trash.
I'm not gonna, I didn't want to bring that up with you bragging about your jersey there, but
I knew it was coming. We were talking about kickers missing kicks. He missed more than one in that game. So
he's definitely ahead of Lynn Elliott. I'll say that. Nick, I mean, where are you ranking him?
yeah, look, it may be recency bias. I'd want to rank him, number one, I think, as far as the best Chiefs kicker. We were talking about it earlier with the soccer style tee, soccer style kicking. Jon Gruden obviously had more impact on the game overall, right? So I think that as far as, overall in the league, I would rank Jon Gruden as more important because of that. Like, he just revolutionized how everybody is doing it. And that's the reason that you can have a guy like Harrison Butker come out and kick 58, 60, 62-yard field goals reliably. But yeah, as far as great Chiefs kickers, I mean, he's got to be number one. I mean, he's come into so many clutch situations and really just won games for us, right? I mean, sometimes even games we didn't have any business winning, and he just ended up kicking like 4 or 5 field goals and putting us over the top. So,
Yep.
Man, no love for like Louis Aguilar or old Cairo Santos, who's still
Louis
around
Aguilar
the
was
league
punted, I
somewhere.
believe,
Right?
so I
Morton Anderson,
Morton
Oh,
Anderson, hey man, look, Morty was a all-time NFL great, but he played his last couple of years right on his way out the door, kind of here with the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Made some big kicks, and Dick Vermeil, that was his guy, right? That was his buddy. He was getting bottles of wine for making big kicks, but I got to go in one. Bo, I mean, you putting Butker at the top Chiefs history?
Yeah,
or?
man. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a little recency bias, but it's also like everything Nick said. It's just the wins and coming through in those clutch moments, man. It's funny watching those replays, dude. 2020, they're pumping in crowd noise, and then they kick the field goal, and there's no crowd there, and you're like, I was thinking about that kick and how different it must be versus the first 3 years you're playing, making these kicks, crowds just bombing, and then you're in this game you're on this kick for the game, and there's nobody. It's just dead silence, just like a practice. Like, is it harder or easier in that moment? The game's on the line, still being televised, but no, I put definitely Butker at the top of that list, man. I mean, just too clutch, way too clutch. But I do like the points Nick brings up about revolutionizing the way kickoffs and field goals are actually performed.
Right.
That's why I brought up Aguilar, dude. I remember he was like one of the first kickers to wear like a soccer cleat out there and kick soccer balls with cleats. So that's, yeah. But yeah, number one seems fitting for Butker.
yeah, we've talked about all these. We didn't even bring up the 13-second game. I mean, he's got to make that field goal to put us into overtime,
Yeah.
or else the game's over. So it's just like the list just goes on and on with what Butker's done. He's earned every penny. So I'm a fan, man. He's a hell of a kicker.
Yeah. Let's see what Sam wants to make a cameo shooting some pool in the background during an episode. I don't know.
We could be an extra Chiefs Kingdom Live extra.
Yeah, we might have to have you do that sometime, Sam. But yeah, we another kind of story here that got some national attention and kind of created a buzz on the internet was Jon Gruden, the former Raiders head coach, who infamously led the victory lap around Arrowhead Stadium and the team bus after their one win in Arrowhead in the last, 35 or 40 years. I'm obviously kidding. It's a lot less than that, but they don't win here very much.
2 victories since Patrick Mahomes has been at the helm.
Right, yeah. He was at Chiefs training camp decked out in Chiefs gear and had some people kind of saying, what's going on here? Is this dude joining the staff? Is he going to be a consultant? Is he just visiting? He's obviously longtime friends and buddies with Andy Reid. They've coached together in the past when they were kind of young coaches, just getting their feet wet, right, breaking into the league. So Jon Gruden, let's go to Nick here first. What do you think of Jon Gruden being here? Or are you and I mean, is this what do you think he's doing here, first of all? And second of all, I mean, if it's an audition or some way to bring him in as a consultant or an assistant or something, I mean, how do you feel about Chucky with the Chiefs there at training camp?
I mean, I feel the same way I felt when we brought in Matt Nagy as a quarterback's coach, right? We talked about it. Now he's the offensive coordinator, but or when we had Brad Childress that was like some kind of offensive consultant and he was like scouting, 2 or 3 weeks ahead for the team. Like, I think it's just saying hi to an old friend. I don't think we're going to get too much into like what happened with Gruden's exit in Las Vegas there, but I think that also Andy Reid has been a person that like he's loyal, but he doesn't look at people as like untouchables, right? And so I think that he's always like, you look at what he did with the Michael Vick project and bringing Tyreek Hill, drafting him in, bringing him into Kansas City. So I think that Andy Reid isn't afraid to show people that like he's willing to interact with people that have had sordid things happen in their past, so I think that's just him saying hi to a friend, right? They used to be on staff together. But if you were to come in and perform for our team, like you're getting a NFL head coach, Super Bowl winning head coach level brain, right, on your team, like that already has a working history with your current coach. Like that can't be bad. It can't be a bad thing to have all that brain power in one team. So yeah, I mean, if they can find a spot for him, that's probably going to be like, if it'd be like outside of like the classical structure, I think, of the coaching staff. I don't think they're going to bring him in as like a linebackers coach, but if they had some sort of, hey, we're going to create some like extra special position and, you're just going to work on, doing this type of offensive strategy or working with like this position group or something, like I'm all for it, man.
Bo?
I got a mixed bag of emotions about it all, man. I don't know how I feel about it. It seems like the enemy's here, right? Like, what's he doing here? But like Nick said, longtime friends.
Right.
But like, I don't know. Not to like clown on Tony from Locker Room Rant, but it feels like when we won the Super Bowl, he wears all his Chiefs shit. Like, we did it, guys. Like, what are you doing wearing all your Chiefs stuff, Gruden? Like, it threw me off a little bit. Do you guys think they're making room for him? Like, do you really think this is a thing? Like, I don't know if I can get behind this trade. I mean, I would be for it. Great football mind. I rag on Tony Romo a lot. You guys kind of give Romo the benefit of the doubt being a great commentator, but for all the shit I do talk about him, he does have the ability to see the play as it's happening or even before it's happening. And Jon Gruden's also one of those guys. And to have a brain like that who just understands team schemes and the momentum of games and play calling and the ins and outs of football, I wouldn't mind that being on our team, but I just do we make room for him? Are we making room for him? Who has to go in order for him to come on, or do they?
There's no rules. There's no rules about like what you have to have. He could just hire him on and say he's the assistant head coach, or he's make up a job title, right?
An assistant head coach.
Yeah, I don't know what rules there are or aren't as far as structures go. And for guys, look, maybe if you can bring him on as like a special consultant to the head coach or something like that. I think they want to Brad Childress because they already had an offensive coordinator, so they called him like the offensive preparation, whatever. It was some strange thing that they had him here, and so I don't know if I see that happening. It was interesting though that he was all decked out in Chiefs gear, and maybe that's just to maybe stick it back to the Raiders a little bit for letting him go. Maybe he's got some hard feelings there between him and the Raiders.
The team
still,
kit on, the whole kit. He had the shorts,
right.
Socks,
he looked like an employee, a staff member out there. But I wouldn't be against him. Look, if the Chiefs, they obviously know what they're doing, and Andy Reid knows what he's doing. So if they think it's beneficial to have the guy come in and work with them in whatever capacity that is, I'm for it. I know he exited Las Vegas and has been out of the league, and there's the emails and everything that went on with him. So I don't really want to get into that. That's not really football.
So we just stand in his good graces kind of thing then? Like, hey, come on in. We'll give you field passes. Come check out our training camp.
Yeah,
St. Joe, great barbecue.
Maybe it was a way to visit a friend and also maybe get back at, like the scorned ex-girlfriend. You want to, see a picture of you with your new girl or something. I don't know if there was that angle maybe going on, but if you're
Doug's right here. Big Doug's right here. He consulted with the Saints last year. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I don't remember hearing that either. So maybe if he wants to get back in the NFL, he's going to have to take a big time demotion. But the Chiefs already have offensive coordinator. They've already got the quarterbacks coach, head coach, obviously in play. Like, there's a guy with
demotion, but like he still couldn't be cheap, right?
Right.
He'd still be.
I mean, I don't know what the price tag will be. I don't think Clark Hunt is too concerned with the price tag for the coaching staff and the front office people.
And $1 million.
I don't think he's getting cheap there, especially not with the fact that the Chiefs are like the world's team right now, and just the way they are marketing themselves. And Patrick Mahomes is one of the biggest star athletes in the world, if not the biggest right now. So I don't think the money is the issue. I don't think they would be worried about the bad press that might come along with bringing him on. They're all about winning, and like Nick said, they've shown a propensity, not only just Andy Reid with the Eagles and the Chiefs, but together bringing in people that might be controversial or might bring some bad pub to you. But if they think it's going to help them win, then they're going to do it. And if they think that's the case, then I'm behind it, and that's what they want to do. I mean,
do you guys think he has the ability?
That point,
Do you think he has the ability to be an assistant coach? Like, can he take a step back? Because I mean, he's been head coach and TV announcer.
Yeah, that's kind of the point I was making. I mean, you're a Super Bowl winning head coach, and now you're going to be like third rung down the ladder from head coach behind the offensive coordinator or something. I don't know, but a consulting gig would fit for him. I think he wouldn't have to worry about taking the demotion with title, right? And can kind of just come in and work with Andy, his buddy. So Laney is saying she'll play some pool in the background here.
Looks like Sam says he'll bring his wife along.
There we go.
You'd have like a party, full-on party going on in the background.
Right. We have to figure out the audio and the acoustics maybe.
Where's the DJ going to go?
Some studio. Yeah, I was about to say get a bartender in here, get some more people. It'd be like the Super Bowl party with Chiefs Kingdom Live going on. So, we'll see. But it was an interesting thing to see Chucky.
Real interesting, yeah.
And Sam brought up the Child's Play movies. Those were I don't know if they were the rage or whatever you want to say, but when we were younger and we were kids, Chucky was kind of like the hot slasher movie franchise, whatever you want to call that thing. So I almost put
as a kid, it came out, it freaked me out, right? It wasn't like it was like scary movie, but it was just like you start looking at when you're some Cabbage Patch Dolls as a kid,
man, when you're a kid, everything like that is scary, and then you watch it 10 or 15 years later as an adult, and you're like, that shit was stupid. I was scared of that.
Oh, but there's so many movies that have been like that for me. It's
right.
Scary.
Yeah. So I don't know. I wanted to make the Child's Play reference in the title. I was going to put Chiefs Play at training camp, but I didn't think anybody would pick up on that play on words because the Chiefs are playing football at camp, right? But it's funny Sam brought up Child's Play. So we'll see if that's a one-time thing or if the Chiefs decide maybe to bring him on in some capacity at some point. We talk about bringing people on and keeping people and roster moves and team moves. There was a story out, I want to say it was Nate Taylor, The Athletic, and some other people have kind of been talking about this, how we talked about it, I want to say in the offseason when we were talking about potential free agent moves and extensions coming up this season, guys that are due and who you keep and who you don't keep, especially from that loaded draft class. Looks like the Chiefs maybe are favoring contract extension for Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith over Nick Bolton. That was kind of the story that I'm pretty sure it was Nate Taylor at The Athletic put out there here a few days ago. I thought it was interesting. We put it on here. That's this week's CKL poll. Like I said, if you haven't voted on it, voting's still open. You can get over there and put your vote in. I'm not going to say Creed Humphrey is the wrong choice, but the idea that it was kind of a no-brainer and just how far ahead he is of Nick Bolton was a little surprising to me, not going to lie. Again, not saying that that's not who they should keep, but they are both really, really, really good players at their position. Nick Bolton's not a scrub by any stretch of the imagination, right? He's the inside linebacker. He's had his first year he came on and really played well, and then he had, I want to say he had like 130 tackle season the year after. Now injuries did slow him down last year, and Drew Tranquil came in and kind of plugged that hole for the Chiefs. But Nick Bolton's not a slouch, and the guy that wears the
even
green
with a
dot,
broken wrist and getting surgery, he still performed with Drew Tranquil, right?
I mean, he had the scoop and score against the Eagles in the Super Bowl. He's had a lot of tackles for loss. He wears the green dot and is kind of the quarterback of the defense out there, getting guys lined up. Spags loves Nick Bolton, praises him very highly. I'd be interested to see who you guys picked and in the chat here who you voted for. I'm feeling maybe Brenda's going to say Nick Bolton. I know Nick Bolton. She's a big Nick Bolton fan, like Bo is.
Dude,
here.
Me too. I do. So you can see what I voted, right? I voted Humphrey, but I'll explain my answer here in a minute. This is a good question. I didn't know.
I'm very surprised.
Is this up for debate right now, though? Is this like a real thing? I really hope not. Like, we're not like.
Yeah, no. Nate Taylor was talking about it. He put a story out online earlier this week that I was kind of referencing in the lead to the poll here that the Chiefs are looking at maybe prioritizing Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith maybe over like a Nick Bolton extension. Bo, I'm a little surprised you voted Creed Humphrey.
Dude, yeah, I know. Nick Bolton's my guy.
Why'd you go
man.
Creed? I know Nick's your guy, man. He's always been
guy's
the guy
jersey.
since day
I got a
one,
ball.
too,
I
fucking traitor.
Man, dude, like that's what I'm saying. This was a great question, but I think the reason why I voted, and I feel like most people did, was just simply like the protection package you get protecting Mahomes, right? Like, as much as I love Nick Bolton, I love Mahomes a lot more, man. Like, Mahomes done a little bit more. I'm not saying Nick Bolton isn't a slouch. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not discrediting the guy. I love the guy.
Right.
I'd rather see Mahomes get protected perfectly rather than Nick Bolton, making a few plays and whatnot. Yeah. But with that being said, Nick Bolton is an all-star stud. I praise him. You had a great off-season question, like what's your wild Chiefs prediction for the season, right? My Chiefs prediction is Nick Bolton will have 2 touchdowns in a game, right? So like I am clearly on that guy's side. I just think this is a great question, and the reason I voted Creed was just for that. That guarantee, that like Pat will be okay on like 98% of his snaps or something. Creed usually gets the upper end on it, so that's why I voted that way. Just that one little factor.
Yeah, Nick, you signing Creed over Nick Bolton?
No, I picked Nick Bolton. I guess now we really know who the real Nick Bolton fan is.
Yeah, exactly.
Look,
we lost 5 more fans now.
Put that jersey and ball in the mail, Bo.
Get Nick bring it here. I'll send you on Centered or
I'll give it a proper
Richardson.
home.
Look, so my thinking here is, you're right, Scott. They're both great players, and I'm thinking about if you have to replace them, and let's say you replace one of them with a mediocre to maybe even below average player, which one will impact the team more? I think it's easier for the guards and the tackles to make up for a mediocre center than it is for the defense to make up for a mediocre linebacker. Nick Bolton also, he wears the mic, right? So he's the guy that's calling the plays. They call him, they call him the Patrick Mahomes of the defense, but I don't think they mean he's like Patrick Mahomes, like, level, right? But just because he's the guy that's like calling all the plays and getting people in position and stuff. And I just think that position wise, linebacker is harder to cover for if you got somebody that's not as good center. From my understanding, I think Jason Kelsey's talked about it on New Heights, where he's like, you can, through blocking schemes, you can help out guys because you got two guys right next to you, right? With double teams and stuff like that. And so I think that's why I thought that. And also, like, I don't want to take Scott's talking points. I don't know what he's going to say, but Andy Reid's also like a, old offensive line coach. So, anyway, who'd you vote for, Scotty?
But wait, real quick. To your argument though, real quick, Nick. We did see Nick Bolton go out. We haven't seen Creed leave, right? And our defense, I mean, it suffered a little bit, but we saw Drew, we named him Triple A, Tranquil come in and kind of save, right? So, I mean, like, we've seen that experiment run out. We haven't seen Creed get out, though. So, I mean, it's a little apples to oranges, but, I mean, we've seen that play out, and we know that the defense can still perform.
Yeah, look, Chiefs made a smart move and got a little lucky that the Chargers decided to let Drew Tranquil go. We talked about this last year, how funny it is. All the big money contracts they handed out to bring guys in to catch the Chiefs, and they let Drew Tranquil walk, and he goes to the Chiefs and then wins the Super Bowl with them. That's, like, to me, is one of the funniest things. Like, as far as like Chiefs-Chargers rivalry, it'll go down in that history. Will be the Drew Tranquil switching teams and getting the ring. But look, I don't know. Here's the thing, like, just like I said, they're both really good. I agree with Nick's point. You can make up for a center maybe a little bit easier if you got other good linemen around there. I mean, I actually voted Nick Bolton. I was really kind of
I don't even know what
on it. Look, here's the deal.
This week or something. Damn.
Look, here's the thing to me too. Like, the Chiefs have shown an ability to draft and bring in centers, right? They had Rodney Hudson a number of years ago. He was one of the, if not the highest graded center by all of these grading sites and these experts, whatever you want to call them. They let him go to the Raiders, let him walk. They bring in another guy, and he comes in, and they don't miss a beat, right? And now the guy's name, he went to the Bills. Mitch Morse brought him in.
Oh,
It was a really, really good center. Came time to pay center money. The Chiefs didn't really want to pay him big time money. They have not shown that they really like to pay that kind of money at that position. Let him go. Then a couple years later down the road, we end up with Creed Humphrey, right? So I'm just surprised, like I said, that there were so many people that thought it was that easy of a decision, and that the voting is that lopsided, especially with how popular Nick Bolton is. Man, Nick Bolton is a super popular player. Not that Creed isn't. I would like to say this for the people out there, and maybe someone, if you know the answer in the chat without Googling it, put it in the chat. But who was playing center for the Chiefs when they won Super Bowl 54, the first one against the 49ers? Does anybody know that without Googling it?
Oh, fuck.
I mean, they're talking
Winchester
like
was the
having the top
snapper.
center in the league is like a must, right? And protecting Patrick Mahomes. And if you don't have the great center, then, they don't win these Super Bowls, and they don't protect Patrick. I mean, they had Austin Ryder playing center in the Super Bowl.
Oh,
I'll give you the answer, since I know neither of you guys are going to get it. I had to Google it myself. I had to look it up. I didn't know it off the top of my head. So
I may or may not have an Austin Ryder signed Chiefs Kingdom flag, and I still didn't think of his name.
Right. So look,
There you go.
is the right guy Creed Humphrey? Keeping it, that may be. I'm not necessarily even arguing that's the wrong move, but
I think it's a great
to
question.
act like it's a no-brainer, slam dunk, simple choice, I really don't think that it is, man.
I mean, it is lopsided. I don't think it's a simple choice, though, man. Right? But like, everything you
But
said
everybody
about
was
like
saying
our
online,
ability to draft and replace certain positions. I mean, our defense, we've been able to do that with every position. We've been able to draft young and have a pretty decent defense. And I mean, a la the past 3 years, we've had, I think, the youngest defense or like top 5 youngest defense in the league for the past 3 years. So, I mean, it's also, I mean, yeah, it's a great question, dude. I don't think it's like a no brainer. I just think, man, that little thing about, keeping Patrick safe versus can we get another guy in this position is kind of outweighs that just a little bit more. That's just my humble opinion. But man, I can't believe you guys both voted for it. We flip flopped. It should have been the other way. I thought it was gonna be 2-1. I thought I was going with you guys on this one.
When I saw the little check mark on Creed there, I was thinking, like, is that Bo's feed? Like,
yeah, this is my.
Am I seeing that right? Am I hallucinating? I think that stuff just kicked in. Yeah, like I said, if you haven't voted yet, polls are still open. You can go check it out and put your vote in.
1,200 views, only 167 votes. Come on, guys, it's just one click.
Right. I mean, it's looking like
got this.
It's looking to me like the Chiefs are probably going to keep Creed if Nate Taylor is putting that out there. Right. He's a connected guy. He's got sources with the team. So,
Sam's asking best Chiefs O-line player of all time here.
Bolton goes is going to be a tough one. Best Chiefs O-line player all time. That's got to be Will Shields, right? I mean, multiple times All-Pro, Hall of Famer,
friend of the show, Joe Valerio,
Walter Payton Man of the Year,
Walter
reception
Payton Man of the Year, Will
from
Shields,
Joe Montana,
Willie Rofe.
I was going to say Rofe is probably second, but
yeah, widely regarded as the greatest left tackle of all time. But he played his last few years with the Chiefs, right? Willie Rofe. I mean, I don't.
And Will Shields, I think he played like some kind of crazy amount of consecutive snaps too, right?
Yeah, almost basically his entire career. He played his entire career with the Chiefs. He's a Hall of Fame lineman. Willie Rofe played for the Saints for a long time before he came here.
Go for KC forever, John Alt. That's a good poll.
Good one. Yeah, no, that's a good choice. I mean, there's lots of good ones, but just go look at Will Shields' accolades. And like you said, Nick, the consecutive games played and just the players that, I mean, he on that Monday night game against the Ravens, he was in Ray Lewis's head and shutting that dude down. I mean, he looked like a freaking practice squad player out there when he was going up against Will Shields. And they kept having Ray Lewis on the sidelines. They double me every play, man. They keep doubling me, man. I don't know how they keep doubling me. And then you go back and you watch the tape and they ain't doubling you, bro. Will Shields just locking you down. So
Will Shields is a double in himself, right?
Right,
It's
exactly.
Like double teamed.
Yeah,
I'll give an honorable mention to center Tim Grunhard. He's up there. He's a Ring of Honor guy, right?
Bonner played a long time for the Chiefs. Really good player and at the center position, like we were just talking about with Creed. So yeah. I mean, I'm going to go Will Shields, greatest of all time there on Chiefs offensive lineman. Brian Waters would be a good choice too. He played a long time on the other side of the center there on the line. Really, really good player. But
Juwan Taylor, greatest distraction man of all time.
Yeah,
everybody's looking right. We go left. They flag it every time, but he's got everybody looking at him.
Yeah,
Eric, the number 1 draft choice, Eric Fisher.
Right. There's a game this Saturday, first preseason game of the year. Chiefs at the Jacksonville Jaguars in Jacksonville, Florida. How excited are you guys that there's a Chiefs game this Saturday? I mean, I'm ready, man.
I've got all my gear out. I'm much to Ashley's not liking it so much, but hey, it's Chiefs gear every day, all day now. Let's go until Saturday.
Yep, football season is upon us. Nick, really excited for the preseason game Saturday?
Yeah, look, preseason football obviously not as exciting as week 1, but you get to see some of these guys that are kind of fringe guys and see how they perform. We were talking earlier about Remigio, and we talked about Jody Fortson a lot on previous shows. You get to see some of these guys, and it's their moment to shine, right? And even towards the end of the game, you'll see somebody score a touchdown, and they may not make the team, but they get to be on an NFL field, in a real stadium and do that. So it's like kind of cool in its own way, right? I'm excited, man. It's the NFL season starting up.
Who was the tight end for the Chiefs? I want to say last year that just killed it in that one preseason game. I want to say he had 6 or 7 catches for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. Matt Bushman.
Yeah,
Then
it
he
was
got
Bushman's,
hurt,
yeah.
bro. And I was like, oh, what? No way. That dude was killing it. If you watched the Hall of Fame game last week, there was that number 80, the wide receiver for the Bears. It looked like freaking Randy Moss out there, just mossing people and
The Bears'
catching
third string looks
touchdowns.
so good.
Yeah. Yeah, you just backups to backups, playing the backups of the backups. But yeah, so I'm excited. Andy Reid said that he's probably going to let the starters play the first quarter of the first preseason game. I would like to hear your guys' thoughts on that. That's the conventional wisdom, right? I mean, forever growing up, it was the starters played a little bit in the first preseason game, played a little bit more in the second preseason game, played a lot of the third preseason game, and then really didn't play at all the fourth preseason game. Now that they've done away with the fourth preseason game, you've seen teams adjust. There's teams out there, the Chargers being one of them. We keep coming back to them. I'm trying to think of who the other team. There's been a couple other teams that, like, they didn't play their starters at all in the preseason because they're worried about guys getting injured.
The Packers did that, right? When they still had Rodgers.
The Packers did that. You in favor of guys playing in the preseason, the starters getting out there, Bo?
Yeah, 100%. I think, the more experience, the more dust they can kind of knock off, the better for everybody. The more, like you said, live experience, playing in front of people, getting real situations lined up, having the refs, and like just the real seriousness of everything going on. I think, that's huge for everybody. How much they want to play? Yeah, right.
John C., resident CKL comedian, him and Sam are the class clowns in here, and the comedians of CKL.
Rossing people's good.
Yeah, I was laughing.
I don't know.
Joke about
this first game, though, I don't know how much I want to see people going 110% in this game. It can lead to some bad stuff. So, I like to see people get out there, get used to it, get them familiar with the situation. And I think teams are still at like 96 guys or something like that. So they got to whittle it down to 55. So, you have a certain amount of guys who are going to make the team. So let's get those other guys fighting for their spot and seeing what they can do. Get them more real-time playing situations out there. I'm actually more curious to see how the preseason handles this kickoff situation. We saw it in the Hall of Fame game. Kind of turned out to be a dud with the new kickoff rules. But again, you don't have like your starters out there and everything, right? So like, who knows if this is really what it's going to look like. I'm kind of in favor of the new kickoff. I'm not going to lie. Like Scott and I were talking. He said it was kind of lame. He wasn't a fan of it, but
it's awful.
I actually saw guys catch the ball and try to make a return, right? Like that play hadn't happened, I think, and
ran 5 yards and got blown
7 games
up.
or something. Hey man, the last time I saw a kick like return was like 27 games or something like that. So kind of a fan of it. It's either that or it goes away. So like I don't know. Gotta cheer for something, I guess.
Yeah. Nick, you think it's smart playing the starters in the preseason, or would you like to see the Chiefs avoid not risk the injury and sit guys?
Yeah, that's always the question, right? But look, call it whatever you want, but after I saw Todd Haley treat the preseason like walk through practices and lose every game, and then we came out and looked like just total shit and sucked. Like I'm like, let's treat the preseason a little more serious, right? And everybody says, oh, well, Andy Reid, he's old school, right? He runs a hard training camp, and Andy Reid, he's old school. He's taking the risk of playing guys in preseason. And you know what else Andy Reid's doing is he's winning AFC championships and Super Bowls like all the time. So, but yeah, look, I'm a fan. I think you need to get him in and get him, like we've got a lot of like new pieces, right? I mean, every year you do, but we've got some new receivers that have never actually seen game action with Patrick. And so I think it's important that happens in kind of like a lower risk setting, right, than in a real game. And I think it's worth the risk of, somebody potentially getting hurt. So I'm a fan, call me old school or whatever, but I just think that teams that don't do it, they come out and you kind of see this kind of shitty play, but from teams for the first couple of weeks of the season.
Yeah. Yeah, you've seen offensive numbers are down too earlier in the season since teams have started sitting their starters for the entire preseason. Like I'm not saying I want to see Patrick Mahomes out there in the fourth quarter on Saturday. I'm not gonna get we're gonna get crazy here, but yeah, get out there, get some rest. John
Yeah,
C.
sure.
talking about Caleb Williams not playing. Now they've got an
Yeah, that
extra
was
game.
strange.
They've got an extra preseason game with the Hall of Fame game there. They got 4 games, so I think you will see him play. But I mean, if I'm the Bears, look, especially at quarterback, you can keep your quarterback well out of harm's way for the most part, right? In the preseason with the play calling and tell him, look, man, like if it ain't there right away, or if you're getting any pressure at all,
Yeah,
throw the ball.
we're not
away.
going third option here.
Dirty.
1,
Yeah,
2,
exactly.
away.
Like, yeah. So, especially at the quarterback position, I mean, if I'm a Bears fan, I wanted to see Caleb Williams out there and get some work. And the guy's a rookie. He didn't play his last college game. The dude is very talented, obviously. But I mean, if I'm the Bears, I'm looking at that as an extra opportunity for that guy to get out there and get some live action football going on. So, yeah, go KC. That's Romeo and Charlie. Man, that was dark days there, man.
Bad times in the kingdom, man.
Yeah, bad times in the kingdom. How far we've come, right? Just makes the successes and all the winning, the Super Bowls and the championships and the dynasty, right? I mean, Chiefs are dynasty. There's no arguing that at this point. So, just makes it all that much sweeter. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. I want to see Patrick Mahomes maybe getting the ball to some of these guys. This tight end that they've got, Wiley, right? See what that looks like. The Chiefs, they've, I don't want to say retooled the running back thing, but they got rid of Jarrett McKinnon. It looks like Deneric Prince is going to be the backup. I expect
dude, he's looking like the number 2 role, right?
I expect a heavy workload for Isaiah Pacheco at running back this year. I think they are going to run that guy and run him often and use him in the passing game. And you're going to see Prince and CEH is kind of just riding the pine a lot. That's what I'm expecting to see there. But yeah, get him out there in the first quarter, and and then the next game you can play him for a half or maybe play him into the third quarter. I don't think you'll see him playing in the last game, the last preseason game. I don't think you'll see Patrick Mahomes or Travis Kelce or Isaiah Pacheco or Chris Jones or any of them guys out there in that third and final game. Here's the other thing too: if they come out and just march the ball right down the field on offense and then score a touchdown, and the starters on defense get a 3 and out and force a punt, get them out. They look good, right? Like
that's all we see. Yeah, that's all we need to see.
If they look a little rusty, you can maybe leave them in a little bit longer and work on that and get them some of that rust knocked off. So I think you play it by ear too a little bit on how much you play guys in the preseason. If it's looking like they need it, keep them in there and play them more. If it's not looking like it, if it looks like they're on the same page and it looks well oiled, get them out and don't play them as much. So, I just can't believe it's Chiefs game this Saturday.
Dude, me too. You brought up Pacheco though. Everything I've seen online about that guy, he looks ready this year. He looks hungry. He looks like he's bulked up a little bit, which isn't saying a lot because he's not like too big of a guy. But I mean, he for what it is. I mean, he looks ready to roll, man. I'm excited. Everything I've seen about it just looked amped, pumped, happy. Like I said, these guys are having fun. I think that's like a big part of success on this team, right? When you're this professional, everybody kind of, mentions how hard and notorious Andy Reid's training camps are. And when you see these guys having fun and like getting excited during a grueling training camp, a 3-a-day in the middle of a KC summer, like you're like, oh, this looks a little different than last year. I'm excited too, man, especially for Pacheco and him in the number 1 spot. But then Deneric Prince too, earning so many reps with the one team during training camp. I think we're going to see a little bit more of him than what we kind of are expecting, right?
Yeah, it's looking like they liked what they saw from him last year, but had McKinnon and the veteran guy there, and had Pacheco with the speed, and so had CEH on the team. Which they still have CEH, but looks like maybe they put him on the shelf and said we're gonna save this one maybe for next year, right? We're gonna hold off on the Deneric Prince experiment, but it's looking like the man's gonna get his opportunity to play. So Yeah, it's kind of someone I'm looking at. Also, like I said, I'm wanting to see this tight end that's making plays. Go Casey. Talk about wanting to see some legit wide receivers out there, Hollywood and Worthy. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing those guys out there. See what Hollywood Brown and Patrick Mahomes look like.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun. That should just. I hope that's just fun to watch. You know,
I want to see some Justin. I want to see some Justin Ross out there too, man. Like I'm getting excited about the guy again. After I told myself last year I wasn't going to. Right.
Well, dude, I mean, it's not out of the
freaking
realm of
hype train
possibility.
was like gaining steam earlier in the week and the end of last week, and he's making plays and catching touchdowns. I mean, he was catching them against Trent McDuffie too. It wasn't like he was out there running with the second and third string defense, looking like a Pro Bowler. Justin Ross, I still think has got upside, and
dude, and like I think we'll see a lot of them, especially in preseason. If Mahomes is out there too, even right, like. I know it's just preseason when Mahomes does get limited staffs, but over the past 2 years, he's averaged like 11 different receivers a game. So like they really like spreading it out a little bit and seeing what all the guys got. So I think we'll see him.
Yeah, appreciate the compliment. Go KC. If you like the show, make sure you click like. That really helps us out and subscribe.
Dude, we're looking forward to LRZ too. That's Nick's guy right there.
Oh yeah. Hey man, if he makes the team, I'm gonna wear my Wales jersey to a game, maybe. Probably not. Probably won't. Probably not. I'll think about it.
Yeah, it's red, right? So
it's red. See it red.
Wonder how many people you'll see out there. I mean, you'll be like the guy that's wearing you'll be the guy that's wearing the Texas Tech Mahomes jersey right at the games. Like
this is a little more obscure. This is
the hipster dude.
That's pretty obscure. That was like when they signed him, I was like, we are living in a simulation.
But yeah, make sure you click that like if you're watching and you enjoy the show. It really helps spread the word. And we're working on getting to that 1,000 subscriber mark. We're going to be putting out some news here pretty soon about a pretty sweet freaking giveaway that we're going to do when we get to that 1,000 subscriber mark. So definitely helps spread the word. I don't know. The other thing too is I tell myself every year I'm not going to care about the outcome of the game, but I guarantee you I'll be watching the game Saturday.
There'll be 50 posts on X from Scott on Saturday.
Chiefs will be down, and I'll be like, "What is that bullshit call? What are you freaking doing? What the hell?" And like,
remember, Scott, preseason's for the refs too, right?
Yeah, the outcome of the game does not matter, but I'm still gonna be pissed off.
You got to get that throwing motion down,
Yeah,
I don't
want to get Tommy John, whatever that is.
I mean, I'm still gonna be pissed off if they lose, even though it's preseason and the final result of the game is meaningless. I don't know. There's just something about when you play, man. Like you play to win, and I want to win. So I don't know. Anything else we didn't get to? You guys want to get to, or maybe someone?
Well, we didn't talk about the top 100
snubbing. The great snubbing.
I don't even know if we want to like legitimize that abomination by even discussing it and bringing it up, but I mean we can, right? In what universe is Patrick Mahomes the fourth best football player? What?
Tyreek too.
Look, the Chiefs is
good. It's just funny being Chiefs fans, right? Because like, I mean, you see it. We definitely saw it. We see his greatness. We know his greatness. We've lived his greatness.
Yeah.
We see it on the Dolphins, right? Scott still brings up his yardage and how close he is to Calvin Johnson's record and just how unstoppable that guy is. Exactly. How unstoppable he is.
On the wall right there, man. You know I'm a cheetah fan.
But as Chiefs fans, we watched him last year. What did he do? Oh, he fumbled the ball over to us and then got completely shut down the 2 times we played us. Exactly. It didn't do much at all. And the 2 guys that shut him down didn't even get a mention on that list. So it's we were talking about like the ESPY awards and the legitimacy of those, right? Like how legitimate is your top 100, right? When everybody's argument is like, oh, it's voted on by the players from November to April, but then Aaron Rodgers makes the list. Like, oh, really? The guy that played 4 snaps pre-November makes the top 100. Okay. So the prestigiousness of it all just kind of
never underestimate
came down a couple notches.
Never underestimate the power of jealousy. Stinky cologne.
You know who was the most mad about that snubbing, right?
Who's that?
Lamar Jackson. He's like, I gotta play that dude the first game of the season.
Right? Yeah.
That dude's gonna be counting on his fingers.
Why are you doing
again?
this to me?
Again. Yeah. It's not even me.
Yeah. Yeah, look, Tyreek Hill. I got no. He's a top 3 player. I mean, I see Tyreek Hill at 3. He's just not one, man. I just don't know what. And there were some people that were making jokes, and he even responded back to him. There was like, "Yeah, he's the number one player that has the most kids in the NFL, or he's like the number one player at this."
He was taking on all
right.
comers, wasn't he?
Right. Yeah, he was. He was kind of had some back and forths with some randos there on social media that were kind of clowning him a little bit. But yeah, obviously Patrick Mahomes is the best football player. And it was funny. There were some videos of people trying to say why it wasn't an abomination that he was 4th, and other people on the sets were like, "What are you talking about? Like, come on, man. You know he's the best player." Everybody, even the players that didn't vote him as the best player know he's the best player, right? I mean, it's got to be jealousy or fatigue of getting your ass whipped by Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah,
You
or
just don't
spite,
vote him
just
number
pure
one.
spite,
Pure
Jamar
spite,
Chase style.
just being a hater, right?
I'm not gonna even put him on the list.
Right.
Whatever was the reason behind it, it makes me so happy because like now he doesn't even
fire.
Yeah, exactly. It's just because we talked about it with the ESPYs, right? I'm like, if our guy wins, like cool, but if he doesn't win, like I don't really like get that emotionally invested in it, right? I mean, it's, who cares? Like he won the contest that mattered, right?
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
Like, the only contest that really mattered, like they won last year, so and they've won it 3 out of the last 5 years.
The
so
year before that,
I mean, I'm not losing. Look, I'm not losing sleep over it, but it's still. I mean, it's
so
still,
I am.
My takeaway was
good
just extra motivation is so good. Like, I mean, it's like first it was Vegas coming out and saying San Francisco had the best odds after the Super Bowl, and then it was the Kermit the Frog Mahomes doll at Raiders camp, and now it's number 4 on the list. And I'm just like, man, they just really want the Chiefs to three-peat. It's like the universe wants the Chiefs to have the motivation to go and three-peat, and it just makes me so happy.
They just can't leave it alone, right? I feel like that actually might be our kryptonite, is if you were to give us our flowers and respect. I'm like, oh, watch out for the Chiefs. They're gonna roll over everybody, and then like, oh, build their confidence up a little too much. But no,
have you ever
wants to put that right back on the
this
shoulder.
This might be a movie you guys are gonna make fun of me, but Stephanie, my wife, she watches that Pitch Perfect movie a few times a year. Have you ever seen that movie?
No,
can't say that I have.
Well, there's this guy in the movie, and they're like, it's the whole movie is like leading up to this big competition, right? And at the end, like this guy's got like, he's like, oh, I got like, I'm gonna be, he gets like some other job making a bunch of money. And they're like, yeah, but what about the big competition? He's like, I won that shit like 100 times. Like, and so how I think Patrick probably is like when they're like, you're number 4. He's like, I don't even care. I already won that shit.
Yeah, no, I think Patrick Mahomes wants to be number 1.
He's got people disrespecting him, right? And he's like, all right.
It was funny too. We put out there on our X account was like, Patrick Mahomes didn't acknowledge it this time. If you recall, the last time he was number 4 behind Lamar Jackson and some other ridiculous people ahead of him, he like tweeted out the little notepad emoji, right? He didn't say nothing, and I got to thinking about that the next day or so, and I was thinking, man, the league should be more scared probably that he didn't say anything about it this time, right? I don't know. If he's not 1, he's got to be at least number 2, and he's not number 2. The guy has got to be number 1. We're talking about this too, like Travis Kelce at 9 behind Trent Williams and some of these other guys. Right. There wasn't a whole lot of talk about that. I guarantee you that. As well. I guarantee you that caught Travis Kelce's attention, and that's fueling a little of his fire. I guarantee it this year. It wasn't as it was not as big a deal, and was not kind of like talked about as much as Patrick Mahomes being 4. But there's 2 or 3 or 4 guys ahead of Travis Kelce there in that top 8. That no,
I mean, you called it. You had Jones in front of Kelce. I was a little shocked at that right there.
I knew. Like I said, he missed the time with the injury earlier last year. He didn't get 1,000 yards. Yeah. Again, I'm not saying there's any shine off the dude, like that he's like missing out or whatever, but yeah, Jones played though in the last game. Travis Kelce missed 2 games last year, right?
He did.
And look,
missed. I mean, they didn't play him in the last game.
Chris Jones is in the conversation.
Sure.
As
But
the best defensive player in the NFL. So, I expected that Chris Jones was going to be ranked ahead of Travis Kelce. I'm not saying that that's right. Again, I think that's going to be some bulletin board material for Travis Kelce, for TMFK. Maybe light a little fire under him. How crazy is it? We put this out on X too. So you had Patrick Mahomes at 4, who should have been 1. You had Chris Jones checked in at, what was he at, number 6?
Yeah.
You had Travis Kelce
Jones
at
6.
Yeah, you had Travis Kelce at 9, who easily could have been higher. You had Tyreek Hill at 1. You could make an argument for all of those guys being in the top 5, right? And they were all on the Chiefs a couple of years ago. How fucking crazy is that? I mean,
All drafted by the Chiefs.
right? Chiefs drafted and had 4 of the top 5 or 6 or 7 players in the NFL all in the same time on their team.
And they got rid of the number 1 guy, and they won back-to-back Super Bowls.
Embarrassment of riches for the Chiefs on the field. I'm not sure which post that is. I can't read the.
Oh, it's the one you're talking about.
Because you can make a legit argument. Patrick
Oh, yeah.
Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Chris Jones, and Tyreek Hill are top 5 players in the NFL, and they were all on the Chiefs at one time. Yeah, it's
And Kareem Hunt in his prime, when he was leading the league in rushing, was on that team too with them guys. Like, man, it's the amount of talent and the players and the Chiefs have acquired and brought in and built this dynasty around is.
Honest question though, like, cause like who got third? CMC, right? CMC got third.
yeah.
Place.
Yeah, who's third?
Make your arguments for 1 and 2 as you will, but like, who in any game time situation with game on the line, any fourth quarter, overtime, whatever, are you giving the ball to CMC or Travis Kelce?
That's close.
Is it
Probably Travis.
Travis?
I mean, you're talking about the guy that's like past Jerry Rice for like postseason records, like the freaking greatest player of
As
all
a tight
time,
end?
or arguably the greatest player of all time in Jerry Rice.
Thank you,
The
lady.
records that guy is setting. Yeah, no, the game on line in crunch time. Probably going Travis. CMC's running back. I'd take Tyreek Hill. I think Christian McCaffrey is a little high at 3, honestly. It definitely doesn't belong in front of Patrick Mahomes. I don't think he belongs.
Yeah.
I don't think he belongs in front of Tyreek Hill, and he wasn't. Trying to think of who else was in that top. I mean, I might put Travis ahead. Christian McCaffrey's kind of. I don't know.
I feel like, dude, like there's that argument that could be made that
Yeah,
you could put
go either way
Travis
with
over
that,
CMC.
but
Obviously, a little bias on this end, but man, like I feel like the rest of the league would feel the same way too. Give it to 87 over Christian McCaffrey in a game time clutch situation.
right. Yeah, there might be a couple more quarterbacks I would put ahead of Christian McCaffrey. As everybody who watches this show with any regularity knows, I don't value the running back position like a lot of other people do. So,
Right.
I'd rather have Justin. I'll tell you who freaking got snubbed was damn Justin Jefferson. He's not even in the top 10,
He's
bro. What? That
He's
dude
like
is
19 or something like that,
He's
right?
fucking one of the best wide receivers. Look, if Tyreek Hill's not the best wide receiver in the NFL, Justin Jefferson is, right? And they're 1-2 or 2-1. The fact that he wasn't even in the top 10, yeah, I would take. I would definitely take Justin Jefferson over Christian McCaffrey. Again, I value the wide receiver position a lot more than I do the running back position. So that fact
That's fair. Like I
position
even value
maybe
the running
has
back
something
position.
to do with not just the player, but the position when you're doing the ranking, right? Quarterback. I mean, you should have 3, probably or 4 quarterbacks in the top 5. If you're talking about best players or most valuable, maybe that's a different conversation too. Most valuable or most important over the best actual player, but
Yeah, but last year he had 1,074 yards and 5 touchdowns, right?
who's that?
Justin
CMC?
Jefferson.
Oh, just
Yeah,
Jefferson?
he's hurt though, man. Like that.
Yeah.
Time. Like
I'm just
And
saying
Cousins was hurt,
that's
too.
gonna impact your ranking, right?
is it off of production or the best player? Like
I think I think it's they ask who's the best player in the league right now, right? They haven't thought like the top 10 or top 20 people.
yeah,
So
man.
then
Like,
how does
who
Aaron
had the
Rodgers
best
make
season?
that list? Like, I just don't. That just baffles
Well, no,
me.
man. If you're going off like best players, I think Aaron Rodgers is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL still, so he should be on the list.
Sure,
Is it based
sure, but
off of the
that's
accomplishments from last year? Isn't that what the MVP is? Like, you're talking about like best players, not the best
well.
season or the
The
best
reason
number.
I've
It's more like
heard
passing
Mahomes
Right.
is on the only defense I've heard that Mahomes is fourth is because, like, well, if you look at him last year, even up to Christmas, he was having struggles. He lost on Christmas Day, and players vote from November to whatever,
Yeah,
right?
but-
Like there was like that's their only cop though. That's the only cop that they've offered to the public as to why they
Is it
think
who had
Mahomes
the
got
best year
fourth.
or is the best player though? Like, I don't know. Like when you look at players and like, how good they are, I don't think you necessarily look at like their numbers from necessarily. The only thing you look at is their numbers from the year. I mean,
Well, right, but then you would look at then you have to look at Mahomes still. Like he just won the Super Bowl the year before that, right? Still the badass, undisputed king. Like so, it like still doesn't make sense.
he's
to
the
me,
best
like, why,
player.
like right,
He's the best
right.
player, even though he had a little bit of a down part, and that's overplayed too because they were saying, "Oh, he only had 27 touchdowns and 14 interceptions last year." How many damn passes did he have dropped that turned into interceptions and could have been touchdown and killed touchdown drives? I mean, give me a freaking break, dude. Easily could have been 35-10 if he had guys out there that weren't freaking Butterfingers and Kadarius Toney out there, stone hands. Yeah, I think when I look at the best players, I look at like their whole body of work and their age and like like who is the best player, not necessarily like who had the best season at this position last year. I don't know. I guess maybe like best season or half season is not the same as best player. Does that make sense?
Sure. Does Tyreek make top 5 if that's the case? Then if you're like doing that, then because I mean,
He's a
sure,
top
but
player, dude.
he hasn't won a playoff game in Miami, or they won one, right? Like he hasn't done
I
shit since
mean,
he's been to
he's in
Kansas
Miami.
City. Sure, but
He
dude,
won a
Mahomes
Super
was
Bowl
in
and went to
Kansas
two
City.
Super
You
Bowls
know what I
with the
mean?
Chiefs. I mean, I don't. He was before he got injured. He was on pace to have 2,000 plus yards receiving, which I don't think like in fact I know it's never been done in the NFL.
It still hasn't been done. I mean, it still
Right,
hasn't.
that's
So
what
that's a moot point. But like,
well, no, I don't think it's a moot
Still-
point. I mean, the guy has the ability to do it. He was on track.
When he's on the field, he's a total game breaker, right? He can
Right.
take an average quarterback and make them get a $50 million a year contract.
He's one of the 3 or 4 or 5 best players in the NFL. I'm not necessarily say he had like third or fourth best year last year, but I don't think those two are necessarily the same thing.
Sure. And that's what I'm saying. So like you're saying like 5 or 4, right? But like I'm thinking he doesn't even make top 5. We're looking at like careers of all the active players right now and like production and output too. Like, yeah, he's got a lot of yards, but what has that done for the Dolphins? They haven't won anything. Like there's legit, I feel like there's a better
That's
argument to
not
make that Jamar Chase is a more productive receiver than he is. He's made it further.
And I don't think Jamar Chase is more productive than Tyreek Hill. I mean, Tyreek Hill's on track to be in the Hall of Fame.
I think Chase is too. I mean,
Well, I don't know about that.
maybe he had a bad last year, but he's had some pretty good years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Tyreek
he had
Hill-
a backup QB thrown to him for a lot of last year, but yeah, look, I think that Tyreek Hill is a unique talent. I think he is a top 5 easy player in the league, right? Like if you said, hey, so quarterbacks are out, you can pick one player to be on your team for the next season. I bet there's a lot of people that would be picking Tyreek Hill.
Well, obviously,
Okay, I guess let me rephrase it a little different way. What other top 5 player do you get rid of on your team, and like your team goes to the Super Bowl still? Like if you're saying like Tyreek Hill is argued top 3,
the
we got
team
rid of
has 3 or 4 other guys that are also in the top
went
10.
to back-to-back Super Bowls without him. Like what other like do the Dolphins do better if they get rid of Tyreek Hill? No, like
Dolphins don't have Patrick
I don't know if I'm-
Mahomes and Travis Kelce and Chris Jones and Trent
Yes,
McDuffie and
yes,
Ladarius
yes,
Smith.
yes.
And
Yes,
so-
you're making my point. Yes.
No, I'm not making your point. I'm saying like he was. I'm saying the Chiefs are able to make up for a top 5 player leaving because they have like 5 or 6 or 7 other guys that are also in the top 10 or 15 or 20 players, and the Dolphins don't. And the wide receiver position, it doesn't affect the game like the quarterback position does either.
Well,
Yeah,
I don't know.
he took that Elon Musk thing about, we need to make sure we're having plenty of kids so our population doesn't collapse real seriously.
He's also doing that too.
Tyreek Hill's alive. We're good. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's like, all right, I got it, boss.
he's
Nothing
bringing
to
up
worry
that,
about there.
he's
I got it, dude.
He's bringing up that 1.5 kids per person average for the betterment of mankind, I guess you could say. So, yeah, I don't know. Patrick Mahomes should be number 1, and he is number 1, and everybody knows it. And even the people, like I said on Twitter, the people that voted him not number 1, no, he's number 1. They just didn't vote him number 1.
So where
They
would you
know.
rank him then, Bo?
They
I'm
know.
confused. You were saying he wasn't top 5, right?
Tyreek?
Yeah.
No, I think you can put him right on the outside of 5. Yeah. If we're
Okay.
looking at like career production and like what you've done in your career, yeah, he was on the Chiefs and did that. But then as soon as he left the Chiefs, he doesn't do shit. Still does
He was
does
just
a lot
as-
for the Dolphins.
You could
but
say he's been
didn't win
better.
for him. We locked him down.
You could say he's been better on the Dolphins than he was the Chiefs. He's had more yards. and
Is
touchdowns.
losing in the playoffs better than winning a Super Bowl?
That's not-
no. I would not say
Because
he's
he
done
don't have
better.
the supporting
I
cast.
would not say he's
around
done better.
Well, so there's a big argument over whether wins are a QB stat. I definitely don't think that wins are a wide receiver stat, though.
him. No.
You
If
think?
you put Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and Chris Jones and Ladarius Sneed and Trent McDuffie on the Dolphins, they probably win the Super Bowl too. I mean, I don't even without Tyreek Hill. Like, so I don't know. I just
So Tyreek Hill isn't a factor. It's those other guys.
no, he is a factor, but like the other teams don't have like the talent around them.
A team.
The team that they have.
Sure. I'll give you that.
Yeah, he's not going to win you. He's not going to win you a Super Bowl like on his own, right? Is that your point?
More or less, yes.
Yeah, but like Mahomes will win you a Super Bowl. I mean, not on his own, but like you can have a lot. You have a lot more margin for error on your roster when you have Mahomes versus if you just have Tyreek Hill.
Right. You put Mahomes on any other team, they're a Super Bowl contender. I don't know.
But is that because of like Mahomes is that much better than
just
Tyreek
Tyreek.
Hill, or just because the position he plays is more important?
Yeah, that could be a difference, right? Yeah, for sure. Like he could definitely a bit more of a decision maker and gets to choose where the ball goes and everything, right?
Yeah, it kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier with Creed Humphrey versus Nick Bolton, right? Like it's like, okay, so what's the value of the position? And Scott's favorite position, the running back, right? Like what's the value of the position? So we run that one into the ground. Everybody get tired of that conversation yet?
No, I mean I just like who are the 5 players that are better than Tyreek Hill in the NFL?
I don't know. They're kind of over arguing about this little
Oh,
shit,
I know. It's
but
fine.
it's
It's
such
all
like,
good. I
you
mean,
know,
fun
small
discuss-
little attributes, but no, I mean, yeah, I'm just more or less. Nick hit the nail right on the head. I'm more or less saying that Patrick Mahomes should be number 1 because he is the game changer.
Yeah, oh,
and the
no,
definitive
he's-
Super Bowl winner, right?
I mean, you could say you could put Patrick Mahomes at number 1 and number 2 and number 3. Really, I mean, the dude guy wins games by himself almost. Sometimes it seems like, you know what I mean? Like it's crazy, but yeah, he's that good. So we're an hour and a half in. It's getting late. I need to get something to eat. It's been a good show. Been a lot of fun. A lot of good topics. Appreciate everybody for jumping in and
Yes, thank you,
joining.
guys.
Good to see everybody. Make sure, like I said at the top of the show, if you haven't clicked like, if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do that now before we get out of here. Chiefs had the first game First preseason game of the year at Jacksonville. Look for the starters to play the first quarter. Keep your eyes on left tackle Kingsley, and look at maybe the new tight end Wiley. Also interested to see like how the secondary fares. You know what I mean? Now that they've kind of lost L'Jarius Sneed, Justin
Right.
Reed's out,
Yeah, I'm super curious about
and
that.
Nick Bolton's out, so might be a little bit hard to judge how the defensive starters do and look in the
Yeah, it
first
could look a little weird actually, right? The first
yeah,
game.
it could be.
It's like,
So
ooh.
it's gonna be interesting. There's a lot of cool stuff to look for and a lot of players to check out. And listen, preseason football, it might not be the prettiest football, but them guys are out there playing hard. And you see a lot of like effort and hard hits and guys trying to make plays out there. So preseason football is still a good football. It's just obviously not as important or valuable as the regular season, but you see guys playing hard out there and you'll see some good football. So again, thanks for watching. We appreciate it. And until next week, let's go Chiefs.
Go Chiefs.